I just want to quote the internet and say that we are so back. Thank you so much for tuning in to season 2 of The Golden Rule by your host, Kamel Rule. I wanted to say bonjour, konnichiwa, sat shri akal, hola, alo, ciao, ciao, salim, hello, hello in every other language. If there's a language that I left off and you know it, please get in contact with me and let me know. I'm trying to learn hello in as many languages as possible so I can say hello to as many people as possible. Otherwise, I'll just give you a peace sign, which is the universal hello. But, saying it is just so much cleaner. Oh my God. I'm actually not going to edit that out because somebody just texted me and you could probably hear it. But that lets you know that I'm a real person and people are contacting me. So I want to give a shout out to the sponsors first, like always. I am drinking coffee right now. This coffee is from Trader Joe's. It's called the Wake Up Blend. Wake that ass up blend. That's not what it says, but if it did say that, on the packaging, you might be more likely to buy it. So that's the remix, the Wake That Ass Up blend from Trader Joe's. Shout out to Trader Joe's. Shout out to All Technology. That's how I'm getting this message out. Shout out to my mother and my father who created me. That is how I am here to even get these messages to you. Funny story. I was talking to my mom one day randomly, and we just talk about random things. I was like, man, I need a new coffee mug. Not asking her to get me a coffee mug. I was just talking, without thinking. I was like, you know what? I'm thinking about getting a new coffee mug. I want a creative coffee mug. One of those ones you see on the internet with some pictures or a funny phrase on it. You know what? I'm thinking about getting one of those. This was just in conversation. 3 days later, she shows up at my place with a new coffee mug. And I was like, damn, that's love. You know how they say, like, you don't have to ask the right person for what you need or what you want. Why? Because that person is actively looking for ways to make you happy, or that person is just listening to you. My mom was listening to me. She was like, this nigga wants a new coffee mug. I'm going to get it for him. And she remembered that. I don't know if she went to get it right after I said that. If she did, that's super cool. But maybe it was a few days later and she was shopping and she thought of me. So shout out to the people that think of you. Who else are our sponsors? All the energy outside, the people that we know. I'm going to a wedding next week. I'm going to a wedding towards the end of the year. I might go to some more weddings. If you've ever invited me to your wedding, thank you. I love you so much. I'm going to invite a lot of people in my wedding when it happens. So stay tuned. If I went to a festival with you last year, shout out to you for us linking up at this festival. If I even saw you in person last year or talked to you over the phone, shout out to you. Shout out to us being alive. Shout out to crypto. Shout out to the stock market. That's kind of where these titles of season 2 tie to. This is episode 1, the first quarter, / nostalgia, the moment, and the future. You know what? I'll tell you the rest of the titles. It's not like I'm spoiling anything. You're going to see this anyways. And you can maybe think forward, right, about what you think I might say or what you want to hear. Episode 2 will be called the second quarter, / ideas, actions, and results. The third episode, the third quarter, acquaintances, friends, and family. The fourth episode, the fourth quarter, lust, love, and commitment. Season 1, 12 episodes for 12 months, dropped every Sunday. These episodes will drop on Sunday, but Instead of 12 episodes, there's only 4 episodes. Why did I make that change? Because life is about change. And I might go back to 12. I might do 24. I might do 52 because there's 52 weeks in a year. I might do 365 episodes one day. We shall see. When I was thinking about the track list for season 2, I thought this would be best. I like it. I hope you like it too. So, we're going to start off with a story. Dating is cool. You may like dating, you may hate it. Either way, I respect it. This story stems from dating. I was not dating this woman, but we had met more than likely with the slight intention to date. Because more than less, I think that's why men and women, or women and women, or men and men, or aliens and dolphins meet. I don't know, whatever the pronouns or identifications are. I think that thought is in there. Like, I think when people are walking down the street, they see people and they're like, I could date this person. After they say, this person looks hella good. Or they say, ew, I don't like this person, right? It's not that they're going forward and saying, I would never date this person. But, that's worked in their reaction. I think. I could be wrong, but that's what I think. Anywho, so I'm talking to this woman, right? Good looking woman. Shout out to her. We don't talk anymore, but did not end on bad terms. So shout out to respect. This woman, which I will not name, right? Because protection of PPI is important. And I'm not on this podcast just to, say bad things about people or throw names out there, throw people under the bus. And this is not a throwing the person under the bus story. Not at all. Actually, I learned a lot. So, she was very into mushrooms, psychedelic drug. Some people see it as medicine. Shrooms are legal in California. I think also in Oregon. I could look up where else they are legal at, but I'm not going to do that right now. You can look it up just in case you want to know. You may do shrooms. You may not do shrooms. You may not even know about shrooms. You may, want to know. My dad drinks mushroom coffee. It's not psychedelic mushroom coffee, but, the name is there. You might have walked past a park the other day and saw a mushroom. And you're like, look at that growing from the earth. A mushroom. So, this girl, was heavily into mushrooms and things like that. Things of that nature. So, after, we met and started talking, started conversing more, she was like, you're so cool in person. And I was like, oh, thank you so much. She was like, on your applications, your profile, I could sense a lot of ego, but you're not like that in person. And I was like, ego, what do you mean? And she was like, have you ever experienced death of ego? And I was like, no, please, enlighten me on what death of ego means. And she was like, don't think too much about it. And I was like, I'm only thinking about it because you brought it up. What do you mean? Don't think too much about it after you told me and presented this thought for me to think about. But then when I ask you to explain it, you're like, no. So I looked up, what death of ego meant and a lot of narratives around it. And I realized what she meant is overconfidence. A lot of people tie death of ego to not taking yourself too importantly or your place in the world or the things that you do. And I noticed that reading about it, like I said, most people realize that you are alive in the world and you live in the world. So, you should think of yourself as important, because if you're not, you might just go out, and start doing crazy stuff and killing people, or, truly not caring. You've got families that are attached to you. And it's like, I shouldn't care how these people see me, because, my place in the world is not that important. Death of ego, and I was just trying to understand what she meant. And I think this ties into the golden rule, because they do say that a lot of people are very confident in themselves. A lot of people believe in themselves highly. And a lot of people will try and dim people's confidence in different ways. I believe that was one way. Maybe not even that she was trying to dim my confidence, but when you're on profiles, dating profiles on the internet, right? It's basically like people marketing themselves. Nobody's going to market themselves like, hey, this is me. I got a 420 credit score. Fuck with me. Nobody's going to say that. Like, who would say that online, right? So with what she was saying, I'm like, okay, she just basically took what she read and, defined me as an overly confident person. But then when she met me in real life, she's like, oh, this guy isn't talking about all his accomplishments to me or, marketing himself to me. This guy is listening to me. He's such a different person. And I thought about that. How we perceive people online versus how we perceive them in real life. They might be exactly the same. They might be different. But I think it's always important to notice that people are marketing different things at different times. Might have been in a different mind frame when I was typing my profile, or something might have just happened. Your mind is in this frame and you're like, I'm going to go in this lane. Then when you meet somebody in person, you might not even be thinking about that. What are your experiences with this? Have you ever experienced anything like this? I feel like it's like overdressing the term. When people say, hey, you're overdressed for this moment. I'm like, very possibly, if there is a dress code. But if there isn't a dress code, isn't this all up to me? I think so. I once saw a quote that says the term overdressing is for people who don't like the way they dress and want to dim other people's light. Other fashion icons. You might see that the same way. I don't know. But as I said, so many different things. Take people as they are, or don't. Do whatever you want. I like to take people as they are. So I have something. The first quarter is a key indicator of a company's financial performance for the year. It helps companies determine if they're on track to meet their annual goals. And it can also help companies identify areas of improvement. This is like information from the financial sector regarding the first quarter of like earnings, company revenue, things like that. If you believe that you are the CEO of your own company, which is your body, which creates your decisions, then pairing to that, I believe, is very important. This may be where New Year goals come from. This may be where everyday goals come from. You may have no goals and no drive and no motivation and no ambition to do anything. And you may hear this and it may spark some. Why? Because time is ticking, and this is how, the most profitable and wealthy companies and people think about themselves. The people that run these companies, this is how they think about themselves. Why? Because that motivation, that drive, that how to, bleeds from their minds and their bodies into the work they do. And you got Meta, and you got Apple, shout out to Steve Jobs. I shouted him out in the first season a few times. A very influential figure. So the first quarter of your life is gone, maybe, depending on who you are and how old you are listening to this. The first quarter life estimate, as quoted by ChatGTP, shout out to Chat, is years 1 through 20. If you are younger than 20 and listening to this, shout out to you because you're so young. One, listening to my podcast. Two, listening to a podcast to gain insight from an older person. Me being that older person. And if you made it here, more than likely, you probably listened to the first season. So I really respect that. Shout out to you. But if you're older than 20, the first quarter is gone, my friend. We'll get into the second quarter in the second episode, but the first quarter is gone, right? So this is why, big thing in the last few years, self-reflection. Reflection on your actions, reflection on your past, reflection on what you want in the future. You can reflect on yesterday. You might have wanted something in the future and you don't want it anymore. And that's a simple reflection. You can ask yourself, why don't I want that anymore? Why did I want to do this yesterday and now I don't want to do it anymore? Is there even a reason? Do I just not feel like it? You could find a reason out of that. Why don't I feel like it anymore? Very possible. But like I said, first quarter life estimate is years 1 through 20. And by looking at the financial sector, first quarter of the year is the first months, 1 through 4. So in my eyes, I feel like everything ties together. This could tie to relationships. You know how they say the honeymoon phase. You know how they say, hey, be in a relationship where the honeymoon phase never ends. And some people are like, that's not realistic. And in my mind, I'm like, that may not be realistic for you, but it can be for me. I haven't been married yet, so I don't know. Have I lived a honeymoon phase in a relationship, like for as long as the relationship lasted? Yes. Have I been in a relationship where the honeymoon phase drizzled out after 2 months? Yes, also. Have I reflected on both of those to aid my future relationships? Yes. This first quarter life estimate could tie to friendships, could tie to how you've treated people or how you've let people treat you. Or the outcomes of, hey, I was friends with this person the first quarter of my life, and now we are no longer friends. Or we are even better friends, with deep connections, which is why we keep moving forward as friends with the same type of values, the same type of mind frame, things like that. That just brought me to talk about something that me and my homies do. I have friends. Yes. I didn't know if you knew, but I have friends. I hope that you have friends too, because friends are important. Me and some of my close guy friends, we go out to coffee at least once a month now. I would say at least once a month, like on a Saturday, maybe 9:30 in the morning. We'll go out to coffee shops, sit, talk about investing, about how life is going, about our kids, about relationships, about health, about ideas, things that we see important. Talk about reading material, talk about going on hikes, setting up future plans for, meetups and things like that. When did this happen? Probably started to happen like 2 years ago. We are getting of age, and some people get of age. What I mean by get of age is get older, and they're doing the same thing they were doing when they were younger for different reasons. It could be beneficial for them. It could also be because, they've never moved forward. But, with these friends, I've spent many nights out at night, drinking alcohol, doing fun stuff at that time, waking up the next day. I feel so bad. What happened last night? I'm never drinking again. That was fun though. And then at one point we were like, hey, we need to switch that nightlife for the early life. Some people don't do this ever. Some people do this very early in their life. Some people have a balance of, a nightlife and a day life. Maybe for the first 4 months, it's a nightlife. Maybe for the last parts of the year, it's a day life. I think these things are important to think about for how you balance your own diagram of how you're going to do things. Because if you believe that everybody's different, there are 8 billion humans in the world, give or take. That was the last estimate. There was probably 1,000 babies just born in these last 30 seconds as I said that, possibly. But if everybody is different, which I believe, we are all humans, which means we are all the same, but we are all one of one humans. So everybody's different, and everybody has different ways of doing things. I've never met another Kamel, but I have met Kamals. Shout out to all my Kamals. Shout out to all my K names. Shout out to you if you don't have a K name. So tying back into the title, nostalgia, the moment, and the future. You may be caught in nostalgia a lot, thinking about the past and how amazing it was. This nostalgia may be beneficial for you because you may utilize the same systems that gave you success before, which is a great thing because systems are key, I believe. You may be repeating the same systems that did not give you good results, and that's a terrible thing. And now you have this moment to right your wrongs, to right more rights, to go forward into the future that is right now from that moment that I just communicated about. What was that, 5 seconds ago, which is now the past. And we can be nostalgic about that moment, talking about those systems. See how quickly that works in just 3 steps? Because you might have written that down. I may have gained some insight from that, saying like, I may need to update my systems. And then boom, my systems are updated and I'm seeing better results from an action that I just made in this previous moment. And I was nostalgic, from that idea that I made going forward into the future. So these things closely tie together in such quick moments in a snap that this is why you need to stay attentive at all times. Most times. Sometimes you might be unattentive. I saw a tweet that said being drunk outside is such a feminine thing. Cause my nigga, why am I out here all loose and unattentive? And I thought that was hella funny, because it's very true. Do as you please. But that was just something I thought about. So in the first quarter, which ChatGTP defines of your life as the first 1 through 20 years, or the first 4 months of the year, defined by the financial calendar. And just to throw in a non-shameless plug, because I am not at all shameless about plugging my own creative material within my own creative material. It's like Inception, but the book 12 Months, A Simple Philosophy in a Complicated Experience, illustrates me breaking down my life experiences within months. So that's how we connect to this conclusion of, the first quarter in these numbers. So you got 1 through 20 years. Like I said, GTP defines months 1 through 4, like the financial calendar defines. But also you can break this down into days. They always talk about when you wake up, that sets the tone for the rest of the day. So you could break your life down into 4 quarters. If you're a sports junkie like me and other people, you got the first quarter of the day, second quarter, third quarter, fourth quarter. Am I winning at the end of the day? Have I put myself in a position to win tomorrow? Say the game's not over. Say you play your life out like football tournaments. It's 38 weeks, a tournament. There's wins, there's losses, and there's draws. How many points you get at the end of the tournament is what really matters for you to win. Or you could be in the top 4 and still qualify for the Champions League. Like basketball, you could be in the top 8 and make the playoffs. You can be an 8th seed, and escape the first round. Can you do that? Do you want to do that? Do you talk to yourself like this? If you don't, that's cool. If you do, I feel like it's beautiful because you're connecting yourself to things that you like, to things that you watch, to things that you might do to help propel yourself and make these things simple, make this life exciting, right? So what do I feel is really important? Health, finance, communication, and action. I feel like these things are tied together because you need health to live. If you have bad health, you will cut your life short. How do you know about your health? You communicate within yourself. You may communicate with your doctors. You may communicate with other people that had the same life experiences as you, and they may be able to help. Then you take action. If you don't have the finances, that may really hurt you. We don't want to say that, hey, money is everything, because it's not. But in the great words of Kanye West, not having money is, because it limits your options and choices. So with that said, what's my biggest financial advice? Buy Bitcoin and hold it. It's a great way to generate money, and it's a great way to just build a savings account. When I first discovered Bitcoin, I lived in LA, and I was really trying to understand it. I understood the basics of it from learning about it. But then, just like anything, you understand it more as you do it, or work this tool into the action of your everyday life. It's like a self-help book. I could read 20 self-help books, but if I'm just sitting in the house all day, how is this helping me? Unless, it's just about me working on my own mind and meditating and working out. But, if this self-help book deals with, how to better myself in my relationships with other people, if I'm not actually experiencing these things, with other people, the what to do's and what not to do's, and learning myself in these situations. Oh, what am I going to do when this girl comes up to me? Am I going to freeze up? Am I just going to start talking to her? Like, I can imagine these things inside my head all day. We all can. That was another text. People are talking to me, and I talk to people, just to let you know. But you know what I'm saying? In action, experience is the best teacher from my eyes. Hey, don't take that, as a definite quote, but I think it's true 99% wise. But back to Bitcoin, I think you can use that as your savings account. Hold a lot of money, generate a lot of money. It's like the savings account that grows. And it may fall in a dollar amount, but it will always grow in a Bitcoin amount. Because if you're looking at the world in dollars, you see this. $1 is $1. If you look at the world in Bitcoin, 1 Bitcoin is always 1 Bitcoin. But how much is 1 Bitcoin? Right now, it's like $89,000. If you listen to most rappers, $89,000 is really not a lot of money. Future blew $89,000 yesterday. As so he said in his last 5 mixtapes. He spent the Jerry Rice on an Audemars just yesterday. That's 80 bands, I assume, because Jerry Rice was number 80. Isn't it so cool working everyday things into sports analogies like I just did earlier? So that's finance. Health. What's my first quarter when I wake up in the morning? I get up, I do push-ups. Push-ups, a very natural workout, a great workout for your body. What else do? I do pull-ups. What else do? I stretch. I feel like these things are all great tone setters for your morning. What do I drink in the morning? Coffee. What do I usually eat? Eggs. Protein foods, healthy foods that flow through your body, like fruits, bananas, things like that. I truly believe if you start the first quarter out very fast, you're on offense, but you're also playing defense, things will work out for you. If things are already working out for you, you may not believe that, or you may believe that and say, yes, I'm going to keep doing that. If things are working out for you, you may not even be listening to this. But if you are listening to this and things are working out for you, I hope they continue to work out for you. Like said, we have 3 more episodes coming up in this season. The second quarter, the third quarter, the fourth quarter. You will hear this episode on the last day of the first financial quarter, which most people in finance, see as the end of their first quarter in a game. And they are going hard to win for themselves and for their families. So we should all go very hard to win in this life that is really like a sports game. Shout out to all the sports out there: baseball, football, real football that you kick with your feet, basketball, cricket, volleyball, ice hockey, hacky sack, badminton, horse racing. If I missed any of your sports out there, please let me know. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to leave anything out. Stay wealthy, stay healthy, stay communicating. Go after your goals. Write down your goals. One of the best things you can do is write, like with your hand. Typing is great. Handwriting, also amazing. It's great for the memory. You could do both. I'm doing both right now. I'm sitting in front of a computer. I also have a journal to my right. And a sip of coffee. So thank you for tuning in to episode 1. We will be back in the second quarter. Let's win this game. Thank you very much.